Hi, I'm Shawn Galloway, the president of ProAct Safety. I'd like to talk to you today about the 5 measurements of behavior-based safety effectiveness. Now, behavior-based safety is a process that looks at certain precautions or behaviors that can help us prevent injuries, and then we go out and look in the organization to see, can people take these precautions, are they taking them, and why not, and try to address the influences on them. But when you look at a behavior-based safety process, the most common thing people tend to measure are the number of observations. And that sometimes encourages ticking the box, or pencil whipping, sometimes we call it. There's 5 measurements that we've developed that help us have a great understanding about not only the effectiveness of the process, but also the health, and is it delivering value. You take each one of these 5 measurements, all weighted the same, divide by 5, and you have a single leading indicator for your behavior-based safety effectiveness. So number 1 in the top right is your number of observations or people observed. How many people did you observe this month compared to how many people was your goal? If your goal is to observe everyone once a month and there's 100 people, you only observed 80, so you have an 80%. The goal in each one of these is get to 100%. So the number 1 indicator is what's your percentage of observation. Now, the next one is your percentage of participation. Most efforts have a team or committee that manages the efforts. If you have a committee of 8 people, how many showed up last month to the meeting? If only 4 showed up, you have a 50%. But there's also another indicator within this participation. How many people have done or performed quality observations? Is your goal that everybody performs an observation or a select few? What's the percentage of participation there? You take those 2, you have your participation score. Your next one is your action plans. Are you doing anything with this data? Now, action plans fall into 2 types, right? Are you measuring and managing your process effectively? And also, are you focusing on the things that are going to improve safety or addressing the influences on risk? Now, careful about measuring the number of action plans, because sometimes that'll create somebody or prompt them to develop action plans, and that's not what we want. So typically organizations will measure the average percentage of closure. How many action plans were closed out this month? What was the percentage? Now, the bottom right, if you will, that's our knowledge of the process. How many people can name from memory the behaviors you're focusing on? How many people can name a recent success? If people can't name a success for it, or 2 or 3, they might not view this as effective, and people won't want to get involved or won't want to be engaged. So there's 2 indicators there as well. And then the one in the center is what's called your percent safe. What percentage of the time were people taking the precautions that were desirable? You take each one of those 5 indicators, add them up, divide by 5, you have a single leading indicator that tells you the effectiveness of your behavior-based safety efforts. For more information on this topic, visit us at proactsafety.com. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you a wonderful week.